Alexander Volkanovski, guys, gets another one right. Volkanovski, and you got to remember where we're at, okay? I've even been frustrated, but I'm frustrated on behalf of Volkanovski. I think if you've done everything right the way he does, and you've shown the level of success that he has, that any idea that you have all of a sudden becomes a good idea. Right? Like, there has to be a point in this sport where the ideas that you throw out come back to you as good ideas. There has to be something that you could do. Volk's there. Volk's there to the point that when he said, I want to go up to 155 pounds, Dana simply said, if he beats Max, he can do whatever he wants. But that's exactly what Dana's referring to. He's referring to, you've done enough. And you've done enough good things. So whatever comes out of your mouth as an idea for what should be next for your career, boom, I'm going to say that you're right. But it went away. And not only did it go away, we now have two opponents for Volkanovski, both at 145, and we just haven't figured out which one it's going to be. Right? Is it going to be Josh Emmett? Is it going to be Yair Rodriguez? Now, Volkanovski came out, and he said, you know what? Neither one of those guys is quite calling me out hard enough. Neither one of those guys is certain that it should be them. So just have those two guys fight each other. Have them do that as a way of showing the world that they're sincere and that they want it. I love it. I can't beat it. I can't beat that. And I don't think that that was supposed to be tomfoolery by Volkanovski. I think that's really how he felt in conjunction with something's going on with his hand. And I got to word it that way. I am a little bit annoyed with our community speaking about Volkanovski and speaking that he's going to be out for a period of time to the point that we need an interim championship, all because there was a report somewhere that said he needs his hand worked on. That may well be true, and that might be exactly what happens. I'm speaking to me being annoyed that our industry is running with that without ever going to Volk or Volk's team or to Volk's doctor and getting any kind of analysis, no matter how light. I think that we should question ourselves for that. Before you go and take a belt off a 45-pounder, before you move him divisions, before you get Emmett and Yair in there together because something's wrong with his hand. Not for nothing, but let me get back to what I'm talking about. So, looks like Volk isn't going to get what he wants. Well, he came out today. Did you guys see this? You guys know where I'm going with this? Volkanovski is not only volunteering, he is campaigning to be the backup fighter. The number one ranked pound-for-pound fighter on earth. The greatest 45-pounder to have ever done it, who happens to be the sitting reigning champion right now, wants to be in a backup position. Wants to go out to Abu Dhabi to do it, just in case anything happens, between Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. Guys, I like it. I like it a lot. First, I mean, look, if we can't give Volkanovski that, what are we doing here? If Volkanovski can't get that favor, then there's just nothing that goodwill will do for you within the sport. He's asking for nothing except to be the guy in case one of the guys, and not to mention, guys, when I talk about it makes sense, there's not a champion at 155. This is not a situation where if Charles gets hurt, but Volk is there, Volk and Islam fight for the interim title. There is no champion at 55. Charles versus Islam is for the undisputed title. And I got to talk to you until I'm red in the face about that, but it's very important that we do get that right, just in case something like this arises. Just in case Charles misses weight again. For an example, Volk's there, Islam's there, the show goes on as promised for the undisputed title. It's one of the reasons I keep begging you guys, hey, come on board with me. Hey, we're not being mean to Charles. We're not picking on Charles. Let's just make sure that we call this division for what it is, which is a division that doesn't have a champion. But you start to see why this becomes really important. You start to see why living in reality and having reality as the gold standard as opposed to emotion. Emotion of how does it make you feel cannot be the gold standard. We got to go by reality. And in this case, what if Volkanovski got that nod? I don't see how you could tell him no. I really don't. I don't see how you could tell a guy that you've publicly said can do whatever he wants. Now all that he wants is to be in a position that nobody else has volunteered for. Nobody else has suggested that they get it. nobody else apparently wants. I don't think that anybody within that division wants to step in against Islam on very short notice, and I don't think anybody wants to step in with Oliveira on short notice. But there's now a guy that does want that, who's willing to go through training camp, who's willing to go to a different continent, who's willing to get all of his paperwork done, who's willing to train and be prepared. If we don't give the backup position to Volkanovski, there's just no goodwill within this space. I mean, I think I could say it that strongly. The sitting champion wants a job that nobody else has asked for. Oh, and by the way, he might get nothing out of it other than a front row seat. I think we got to give it to him. And if I can get you guys there, if I can get you to say, well, yes, Chael, of course we should give it to him, then aren't I that much closer? Didn't I just become that much closer to making Volkanovski a 55-pounder? Even if for one night he stubs his toe the way Adesanya did, fine, go back to 45. What if he doesn't? What if he does become champ? Because the parity at 155, who you would want to see next, the clamoring of fights and opponents that you would want to see, just because they're fresh blood, just because they're new guys, just because they're matches that you're a fight fan, you've never closed your eyes and envisioned before, you've never dreamed of them. Volkanovski wants to be the backup fighter. We saw how well that worked out for Michael Chandler. Volkanovski wants to be a backup fighter. We saw how well that position worked for Kamaru Usman. It's real. It's a real spot. The marketing of that position has never been done. There's somebody in the marketing department that disagrees with me, that thinks if you start talking about what could be when that's not what you're going to deliver, you can outshadow the card. They might be right. But I also might be right, and we wouldn't know until we tried it once. It would be an experiment because we never have done it. I think it is a very fascinating angle to work in that backup guy. A very fascinating angle to sit him down, break down which of these two opponents. How were you preparing for the takedowns of Islam? How were you thinking about the aggressiveness and the length of Tony Ferguson? And then ask them the same question. I think it's interesting. Hey, Tony, you're getting ready to fight Islam. Great, let's do the whole piece on it. And then at the end, let's go. And by the way, it might be Volkanovski. I think that's interesting. Nobody's met me halfway on this yet. But that backup position should be coveted. If there was ever a match that I wanted, I couldn't get the match, boom, I'm going after that backup spot. But again, I saw how well it worked. For Kamaru Usman, for Michael Chandler, just by example. I want to know what you guys think. And moreover, I just don't want this one to be missed. Volkanovski has said a few things that are wildly interesting. They're blowing off the shoulders over here. Oh, he's getting his hand done. He's not ready to fight. Says who? Please stop telling me that. Until Volk says, I can't defend, I can't make a date, I can't be there, please stop telling me that his hand hurts. So I've heard a lot of things from Volkanovski. I've never heard that this goddamn hand hurts. I just haven't heard it. What I'm hearing is he would like to be in Abu Dhabi and would like to be in a position to step in on short notice to no notice to take on either Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev for the undisputed lightweight championship. If you have the courage or you have the argument to tell him no, go right ahead. I don't.